Welcome back to Network Africa. Let's take you back to one of our lead stories. South Africa's former anti-corruption chief, Thuli Madonsela, has criticized the U.S. President Donald Trump for sacking the FBI director, James Comey, over his handling of the inquiry into Hillary Clinton's emails. She says that in South Africa, the president would never have gotten away with sacking her. Now we have a legal practitioner, Mr. Chukwuemeka, back with us on the program to further talk about this. Mr. Chukwuemeka, thanks so much for staying with us on Network Africa.
Thank you very much.
Now, let's look at the last few months of the Trump administration and the decisions that the U.S. president has taken so far. Would you say that he's autocratic or dictatorial in nature? Does he have some tendencies with some African leaders that you know?
I think an unusual president has taken an unusual decision. Trump is an unusual president, and I think he's ready to tamper with all the traditions America has got over the and what he has done, he wouldn't barely have to, because the South African Constitution has issued for an independent entity. The American Constitution does not issue, and despite that, because many resources at the pleasure of the president. So Trump did what was within his powers to do, but ordinarily he shouldn't have done. So under the South African Constitution, the Constitution says for a special prosecutor, provides for an independent anti-corruption in that of America does not have. So what Trump has done is constitutional, but ordinarily out of order, because Congress is appearing before the Congress the process of investigation of the Russian connection in an election in happens to be one of the victims or the accused person. So Trump might have taken the decision to avoid the scandal, although it's alluding to understanding of Clinton's email. And many people do not believe that he has taken that for that reason. So I think this has come up a lot of mud, and within the conflict with the state.
Well, legal practitioner Mr. Chukwuemeka, thank you so much for joining us on Network Africa. In other news, a Ugandan activist who has been in detention after being charged with cyber harassment for using derogatory words against President Yoweri Museveni has been granted bail. Stella Nyazi appeared for a court hearing today in which her lawyers responded to the state's application to inquire into her mental status. The 42-year-old Makerere University researcher was charged on April 10 under Section 24 and 25 of Uganda's Computer Misuse Act 2011 and had been on remand since then. It is alleged that in late January, a post made on her Facebook page made a suggestion against President Museveni, which is obscene and indecent under the law. The case has been seen as a test for the limits of freedom of speech in the East African country. Some African breakthrough female technology entrepreneurs have been honored at the just concluded World Economic Forum on Africa. One of the winners of the Top Women's Innovators Award is Oluwayimika Adelaja, the Chief Executive Officer of Fresh Direct Produce and Agro-Allied Service. The global shaper explains to Channels Television the prospects for urban farming in Nigeria.
I've went through a lot of issues, and so there's nobody in Nigeria who gets into agriculture that won't face some of the issues that African farmers are really facing. And so I faced the issues of transportation. I remember when the Naira the fuel scarcity happened, and things went from I think 87 Naira for a liter up to 200, 300 per liter. And then I now had negotiations with truck drivers on, let me get my products to Lagos, and they just stonewalled me, and then they're all in their little cabal. So if you ask this one and this one, they already know he said no, that it's this price, so they're not going to give you any different price. So I had those issues and I said, no, this has to end. I can't fail at this. And so urban farming was a better solution, where I'm taking my farm to market. So instead of just getting closer to market, I am at market. And so that's something that has been beneficial for me. And in this business, I've made my money back. Whereas in the farm, I'm still making in the rural farm, I'm still making my money. For us, it's not just about agriculture. It's about eco-friendly agriculture, sustainable agriculture, and agriculture that maximizes yield and that utilizes technology to do that. We know that without technology, we can't reach the heights that we want to reach as a nation. So our company focuses on using technology to improve yield for urban farming. And so we created a container farm, which is a modular farm. This means that young people don't have to own land. They don't have to have too much access to water. They don't have to have anything, really. They don't have to clear the land. All they do is they get the farm in a container, and they're able to grow inside that container, and when they want, they get a second container and they put it on top, and so they can keep doing that up until 5 stories high, and so they're able to maximize yield on that 14 square meters of space.
But there's only so much, or particular kinds of crops you can do in that with that kind of technology.
Yes, for us, we don't want to compete with rural farmers. We want to create opportunities for urban unemployed youth who haven't had any experience in agriculture. So we want to be able to take advantage and kind of displace the import market. So the things that are being imported, like lettuces, like cold weather crops coming from Europe, they're imported on a weekly basis and they're sent to restaurants, hotels, and grocery stores. So we want to take advantage of that market. And most of the things that the container can grow are those types of products. But we're also innovating on our containers to be able to do root crop products like carrots, turnips, and other things, and also tubers like Irish potato as well. So, and fodder as well for animal production.
You're talking about things you plan to do. What is being done right now already? What's the response been like in Nigeria?
Okay, so right now we're growing things like lettuce, kale, pak choy, arugula. We're growing microgreens as well, and lots of other exotic veg. And so the response has been really good. We have restaurants, grocery stores, and hotels that buy from us. For us, we started with the container farming in December 2015. We had our first container ready by January and planted. We did our first harvest by February, and we were able to pay for our second container by April. So the revenue has been very good from it as well. And so now we're scaling to 10 containers, and we're looking forward to scaling on that small facility that we have to 100 containers as well.
Are these GM products?
No. Everything inside the container is organic. So we use heirloom seeds, and so we also farm organically. We use organic liquefied compost. So we make that ourselves, and we liquefy it ourselves, and we use that for our system. So
we have the problem of cold storage because of the issue of power in Nigeria. How have you been able to handle this?
Within 15 minutes of harvest and cleaning, our produce gets to our customer. So it's hyper local. They don't have to worry about that cold, that issue of cold storage over how many days, because they're getting their products directly, and it's fresh. So that's something that we've been able to do to kind of mitigate those difficulties that we faced before.
What has the youth response been like? We know we have a lot of young Nigerians who many people easily say, yes, they should go and farm. And there's so many challenges. You've listed some of them here.
They're excited to learn. Everybody sends us messages that they would like to be a part of this. They'd like to come on board. And so we're looking now at how we can expand so that people can grow with us instead of for us, But young people just want something that's not backbreaking. So with what we're doing, you're not, putting seeds in the ground directly. You're sitting at a table and seeding your vegetables. You're not just using a hoe and cutlass to prepare your land. You're putting them in pods, and you're turning on a button, and your stuff is growing, and that's it. So you don't have to worry about weeding because you're not outside. You don't have to worry about pruning. It's just an easier process.
Oluwayemi Adelaja, one of the winners of the Top Women Innovators Award at the just concluded World Economic Forum on Africa, speaking with our South Africa Bureau Chief, Betty Dibia. Well, that's it on Network Africa. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Temi Dogwe Fagbemi.